With the recent completion of the second season of The Last of Us, the forthcoming movie dropping with Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, and a little movie called The Fantastic Four First Steps coming out also this month, there's been a fair amount of talk of a little actor called Pedro Pascal. If you don't know, there's another movie that has also been talked about recently that he was in several years ago called Prospect. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out because it's really good. But that's not the movie I want to talk about. The movie I want to talk about is called Prospect. Let's talk about it. Allow me to clarify. The version I wanted to talk about was the short film version from 2014. I come back to it every so often, every couple of years or so, and it's still just darn good. It's so good. The Pedro Pascal one is also good. So if you're curious about that one and you haven't seen it, it's well acted, well directed, well written. I recommend it. And it is a version that I plan on talking about at some point, but I wanted to highlight the short film because it's where it started. This is where the concept came from. And I found myself, when I first came across it, blown away. And I'm thankful that it's still available. If you're curious, it's on Vimeo for free. Just type in Prospect 2014 and it'll pop up. It's just, oh gosh, it's so well shot. It's just well realized. It's very good. One of the things I wanted to always do on this channel is talk about all kinds of stuff. I may have mentioned that in an early video, probably when I first started this channel a number of years ago. I want to give other movies that aren't as often discussed space, because I just thought it was so, I think they're cool. And even if they're not like cool, if they're unique enough that strike me in a certain way that I feel like I want to talk about, I might do that. And Prospect was one of those movies that hit me like that. It's one of those movies that it's inspiring to see what can be done with a relatively modest budget just to get your concept out and still understand how much work that is. And as someone who's made short films myself and who's been on film sets, I can understand completely from an intimate perspective what it takes to not only make the thing, but also like get it funded and get it out. It's not simple as like shooting it, editing it, and putting it up online somewhere. It is, and then it isn't when you start thinking about all the other pieces of the machine. And this is just not necessarily for wide mainstream consumption. This is just simply getting the project created and then sharing it. There are a lot of steps that go into that. And seeing this film is always inspiring to me as a film lover, but also as a creative person. It's one of the many projects that it resonates. So Prospect is a story about a father and daughter, and they're on an unknown planet looking for a valuable resource. They're trying to get enough of it to hopefully cash in on and ultimately have a better life. Along the way, they run into some complications. They run into forces that also are trying to find this valuable resource called the Arlac, and they have to sort of negotiate that. That's it. That's essentially the story. The dad gets injured, and the daughter has to then pick up the slack and carry on the mission. If it sounds familiar, it should. It's kind of like, The Last of Us, oddly, if you consider, look at the first season or the first game, and it's essentially that. It's true grit. It has elements of that Western. It's any story it's like The Mandalorian in some ways. Like any of those stories that have an adult and a young person on a journey together, and they're trying to achieve something. They run across different problems, and at some point have to either separate, and it becomes a coming of age tale. It becomes something where the younger person has to then fend for themselves and then ultimately prove themselves, and they have to grow up a lot in a short span of time in order to succeed, or else they're going to die. That's what Prospect is, and I love that it draws just thematically from a lot of other stories that have that same kind of thread of a father and daughter, or a parent and a child trying to achieve something, and then the child having to then step up to the plate. Again, I mentioned that I watch this movie every so often, every few years, and sometimes multiple times. And I love it. It's a good reminder that you don't need a lot to tell a good story, to make a good movie. These filmmakers had location, they had equipment, and they had like a handful of actors, and they went there and shot their film and made it something. I understand that the plan was always to make it a feature-length situation, but I think there's something really beautiful, and which they eventually did after a lot of time. It took about maybe 8 years, something like that. It took a long time, and that while that's great, I have a special place in my heart for the short film. The budget was somewhere around, I think, $21,000, which is a lot for if you're not like a rich person. It's a lot of money. If you're a regular person trying to make a movie, that's quite a bit of money, and it took them a while. The two directors, I can't remember their names right now, so it's just unfortunate. Can't pull them up, but they took a while to get the script written, get the movie shot. But the result is just amazing. Next to the lead actors, Kaylee Harlow and Tony Dupe, I think that's the father and daughter. Next to them, the standout stars of this project is the location. To me, I think the location was the absolute key to unlocking the potential of the story. So they shot this short picture in Seattle's Hoh Rainforest. It's such a lush, beautiful location, and it unlocks, I think, to me, the expansiveness. It feels otherworldly, like you're on another planet, and they didn't have to do too much. Of course, there's minimal computer generated stuff going on at this location. Little things. If you're paying attention, you'll see things that look like little fireflies, but they're like off. They're not like the bugs we see on our planet. They look just off enough that they could be from another planet. And the location does a lot of that work. It's beautiful, and it's like ethereal almost. Like it's almost like it's like a fairyland. They did such a remarkable job shooting it. But you could make a case that they probably didn't have to do too much. Just set the camera up and just tell your story. You don't have to do a lot of camera moves or kind of crazy stuff, because the location is so great that it does like 90% of the work. The other 10% is, again, very sparse, minimal visual effects. I look at this planet, it's like the Ewoks planet in Return of the Jedi. It's like it's Endor, but on steroids. It's like, it's beautiful. I would argue that it's probably more beautiful than Endor. You could actually probably reshoot the Endor sequences in Return of the Jedi at this place, and I think it would make a difference. The redwoods are great, fantastic location, but that place in Seattle is remarkable. I'm telling you, if you take nothing else away from this review, take away this. It's a great short film. It's a great story, and I highly recommend it. If I can't recommend that short enough. If you've seen the Pedro Pascal version, that's great. I think it might be fun to watch both and just compare them if you want, and to see how you feel about it, because that's a good one. But I feel like there's something about the length of it, something about it being short also is pretty cool too. That's almost like this little vignette of a story, like a comic book issue it's one issue, and you're left to put together the pieces about what happens. It's not going to be for everybody. I'm going to tell you that right now. A lot of people will probably prefer the full length feature, and that's fine. But I think this, I mentioned it here. I mentioned the short here because I think it's solid and it's worthy of attention because it's so darn good. So check it out and let me know what you think. If you've seen it, that's going to do it for this review. If you're still hanging out at this point, thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it. Come on back. We got some more reviews coming up pretty soon. In the meantime, I'm getting out of here. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.